I was saying the same height as you.
All right, I think we'll make a start and let latecomers join us as they arrive. Welcome to all of you here tonight, and thank you so much for joining us for our March Information Night. Do you mind if I ask you to switch mobile phones off, if that's possible during the course of the events tonight? All right, my name's Felicity. I'm the CEO of Weight Loss Solutions Australia, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome all of you here tonight. We hope that you're going to leave as well equipped as possible with all the information and answers to the questions that you're looking for before you leave at the end of our information evening.
Sorry.
That's okay. Better now than later. That's all right.
I was turning it off.
It's our mission and our passion here at Weight Loss Solutions Australia to manage and deal and really fight the battle of obesity here. And, you know, we've been involved in this industry now here for about 16 years, and I've seen thousands and thousands of people come through our system and drastically change their lives. This would still have to be my favourite night of the month, every single month, because it's an opportunity to work with people who are looking for that one thing that's going to really give them that chance to a new, healthy and happy future. And hopefully you'll find the answer to what that thing might be tonight, especially if you've struggled forever with diets and you're so sick of, you know, trying and looking for that next solution. Hopefully tonight, you know, you'll find that that's something that will change your life. So today's actually International Women's Day, and I just would like to acknowledge all the wonderful women and contributions that are made in our community and across a range of incredible contributions. And, you know, without wanting to step on my soapbox for too long, it's a bit of an opportunity to say that, you know, this is our mission. It's to deal and treat and have a solution that's going to drastically reduce obesity in our community, but it's also an opportunity to actually stand up and say that, and it makes me reflect a lot on a very favourite patient of mine many years ago who used to stand up at seminars and say that the last form of acceptable discrimination was to dislike an overweight or morbidly obese person. It's so not acceptable, and it never will be acceptable, and it's part of our fight and our battle every day to deal with that. So, you know, just an opportunity for me to share that. And, you know, this is our absolute mission and passion. And we love what we do every day, and we see incredible results. But, you know, it's not just dealing with obesity in our community, but it's also dealing with a form of discrimination that is never going to be acceptable. So, jump off my soapbox now. All right, so tonight you're going to hear from a wonderful team of people who are all going to share with you all the detail regarding the procedures as much as they possibly can, and give you an insight into what they're going to contribute to your journey throughout weight loss. Our team tonight presenting for you our dietitian Erin. She's going to tell you all about how food relates to the various procedures. Our nurse Natalie, she's actually the first person that you meet in the system. But these are the people that you're going to connect with and work with for 12 months once you've actually made that decision to go down either non-surgical or surgical pathway. We have a couple of psychologists working with us here. Leslie's here tonight, not to present, but I'm going to introduce you to her, and you will have an opportunity to chat with her, hopefully at the end of the night. Our psychologist Warren will be here shortly, and he's actually going to present for you. We also are very, very lucky. Every single month when we run these events, we have a couple of incredible patients who join us to share their own personal stories. Tonight we have a lovely lady, Julie, who's going to tell you all about her personal experience with the gastric balloon. The gastric balloon being very topical at the moment. It's a newer procedure, and it's really filling a gap for patients in that 27 to 32, typically BMI range, who are looking for a non-surgical solution. And we have a wonderful person tonight. Jason has actually flown in from interstate to share his story tonight. We're very grateful to have him here, and you will absolutely be blown away by hearing his story later on tonight. All right, I think we're ready to...
Could we just get someone online just to let us know they've got sound and...
Yes, sure. We do have a lot of people online tonight. Welcome again. Please can you let us know that the sound is working for you, that you can hear me, and don't forget to ask your questions. Our staff will be answering them for you. All right, ready to go. Natalie.
Sorry, I'm holding it back.
So I'd first like to introduce you to Natalie to tell you all about the procedures, and please make sure that you do ask questions. This is all about you, so you're welcome to ask as many questions as you like.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Natalie. I'm the nurse here at Weight Loss Solutions.
More often than not, I'm usually the first person you meet here at Weight Loss Solutions, which is really great for me because it means that I get to know you, get to find out what your weight loss goals are, find out what's happening in your life, and make sure that we choose the right procedure. If you've got something in mind, and then educate you about that particular procedure. A lot of the time what we do here is we talk about weight loss, but one of the things that comes with weight loss or weight gain is a lot of the comorbidities that can happen when you actually are overweight or obese. And that's one thing that really significantly impacts a lot of people, and it impacts their lives. So something as simple as, who's heard of sleep apnea? Yeah, a lot of people have heard of it, if not having it. Significant snoring, significant, snoring, and actually waking up in the middle of the night, and you sort of go to sleep and everything's okay, and the next minute you wake up, okay, and you're actually waking yourself up. And what that is your body is actually telling itself, oh my goodness, I'm not getting enough oxygen, and it wakes itself up. Okay, heart disease. We've all heard of heart disease. Significant increased risk when you're actually obese. Strokes, heart attacks, of course, go hand in hand with heart disease, and lots of other comorbidities, diabetes especially, even for our younger people. And to be honest, I keep forgetting to add this in each week. Felicity has to remind me. Is actually polycystic ovarian syndrome. So for those patients who are suffering from this and are obese, it actually takes away a significant amount of fertility. So it's really, really hard for them to conceive. So we have quite a few patients who actually come in looking to start their family soon, and knowing that they've tried everything. They've gotten to the end of their line. They know they've tried absolutely everything and they need help. And so that's what we can provide here, which is really exciting. So we get very excited, we get very passionate, and as you'll find out of Erin, who's our dietitian, we get very nosy. So, you know, we like to talk to you often, we like to talk to you, you know, frequently if we can, and we love to see you as often as we can. So, which is a great thing. What I wanted to do is just find out a show of hands who's interested in what particular procedure, and you'll have to forgive me, I talk a bit fast, so slow me down. Is anyone here tonight interested in the balloon? Great, yep. Great, okay, good. Anyone interested in the in the band? Okay, yeah, okay, good. And anyone interested in the sleeve? Yep, so majority of people are the sleeve. Okay, so it just gives me an indication of where to angle, you know, most of my talking tonight. What I might do is, as we go along, please feel free to ask any questions, of course, and I will play show and tell as we go along. So the first one we might talk about tonight is the balloon. So who's heard of the balloon? Yeah, yep, a few people. Anyone not heard of the Orbera balloon? Yeah. So look, it's a really interesting weight loss solution for those people who might have a lower BMI, usually between the 27 to 30, 35 range. And what we're looking to do with the balloon is actually reduce your weight loss non-surgically. So this is a really, really amazing technique and tool that we have. And when we refer to, and you'll hear all of us say this tonight, when we refer to our weight loss solutions, we call them tools, because they're going to work for you, but you need to work with them. Okay, so one of the things we say is, look, everything here is not a miracle cure. It is not the be all and end all. It is not, okay, great, I'll have surgery and then I'll be able to do whatever I want for the rest of my life. This is the start of a fantastic lifestyle change. This is the start of the new you. This is the start of you getting back to the old you, the one who can run after the children, grandchildren, the one who can go for a walk through the park without getting puffed out. Okay, so that's the really great part. So we'll start with the balloon. Balloon is really, really good for those people, like I said, who are looking to lose a little bit less weight. It's still great for those patients who have a lot of weight to lose, but are looking for the non-surgical alternative. What it looks like, and yes, before you say anything, I know it looks like a breast implant, and forgive me, all right, but it is made out of silicone, and it is a fantastic apparatus. And what we do is, I'll hand it around so everyone can have a look. What we do is, it's a day procedure only, so it's a day only surgical procedure. Okay, we actually use it. Who's heard of an endoscope or a gastroscope? Yeah, so we go down the throat and we have a look using a small thin camera. What we do is we have a look at the anatomy to make sure that the balloon will go in okay. We actually turn that scope around so we can see what we're doing. We then insert the balloon, as you can see up here, and then we fill it up. And we fill it up with normal saline and something else called methylene blue. So methylene blue is a blue dye. Who has any ideas as to why we might put a dye in it? In case it leaks. That's exactly right. And it's blue because you pee green. Okay, so if there's any complications, you will know. It'll be a surprise, but you will know. So that's great. So the really good thing about the balloon is that it sits up nice and high in the stomach. Okay, and like everything in all of our tools here, it is a great portion control for you. Okay. So with the balloon, once it sits up nice and high, we usually fill it to about 600 ml. Okay, and for those people who have seen the balloon already, you'll notice that there's a lot of air in the top. Forgive me, that's a very old sample. I've had that for a long time, and a lot of people have played with it. So yours will actually be full of saline, okay, and it's not wiggly or jiggly, okay. Then what we do is we have a fantastic 12-month program with our balloon. So during the first, and the balloon sits inside for 6 whole months, but we have the 12-month program. What happens is during that first 6 months, we love to see you monthly. Okay, and what we do from there is we talk to you each week or every month, and in the initial stages we'll talk to you every week to see how you're going. And during that time, what you're doing is you're learning how to eat small, frequent meals and making healthy food choices and nutritionally dense meals, which is what Erin will talk about a bit later, for that for your body. And over time, over that 6 months, you're getting into those healthy habits. Already you're starting to lose weight, you're feeling better, you're energized, you're moving around a bit easier. All those things come hand in hand. And then at the end of that 6 months, what we do is we remove the balloon, but we continue the monthly session. So therefore, all of those great skills that you've learned in that first 6 months, we continue on for that second 6 months. So it's really, really fantastic for those who want either a really good kickstart for their weight loss, or somebody who's looking to lose some weight, say prior to orthopedic surgery. We've had a couple of people who've come in and say, I need my knee done. I've got a really bad knee, but my surgeon won't do it till I lose weight. This is a really, really fantastic non-surgical way of losing weight for that, which is excellent. So as I said before, one of the things that can happen is you get a little leak in it, and that's not a problem. We can go in and we have a look at the balloon and we remove it. And we always know that's going to happen because we're pea green. The balloon can wiggle around or move a little bit, and if it does, you'll know. And one of the great things is that you can self-manipulate it, which is what I teach you to do. So it's a really, really fantastic, yeah, it's really good. So it's a really, really fantastic, it's still long-term weight loss solution. We still look at the full 12 months. And again, like everything, we're looking at you learning the fantastic way of dealing with that, so that, yes, 12 months you'll be with us, but that 5, 10, 15 years, you're still using all these great tools that you've learned with us for your weight loss journey. Okay, does anyone have any questions about the balloon? Oh, we have one from online.
We have actually a lot of questions.
Oh, okay, good.
One is related to the balloon, a couple of them are related to the balloon right now, which is why I just conveyed them to you.
Great.
One is, can you get different size balloons, and can you have these if you've already got a lap band? Now that seems a bit of a curious question. So
Okay.
that's the first one.
Okay, so I'll answer the first question for online viewers, which was, can you get a smaller balloon? Now we do have, yeah, what size it is. Our balloon does come in between the 600 to 700 ml, and to get the most effective way of weight loss with our balloon, we do fill it up to that 600 ml. That's really important so that it does actually kickstart our weight loss, and so that we are actually on our weight loss journey. So we do really try to keep it within that 600 ml. If you already have a lap band, so the second question was, if I have a lap band, can I get a balloon? Look, in short, no. And the reason for that is because we do have a lap band in place, and that does inhibit where we put the balloon, because you've already got something in that same position. However, one of the things that we can do is we can work with you with your lap band. So if somebody's had a lap band for a long time, you know, they might have either given up on using it, or, you know, they're not using it as effectively. And again, we talk about our tools and we want to use them. In that case, we can actually help you. So whoever asked that question online, we're more than happy to have a chat and help you use your band better. Another question?
There is a question asking, basically, the person has had a muscle separation from pregnancy.
Yes.
And their BMI is 37.
Yes.
And they're asking, is the balloon my only option?
Look at a BMI of 37, your balloon is definitely not the only option. And this is the great thing about Weight Loss Solutions, is that we do have options for everyone. So that's definitely something that as the night goes on, you'll hear about the other 2 tools that we do have here at Weight Loss Solutions. And so therefore that can give you an idea as to whether or not either one of those might suit you. And so I'm sure that's why a lot of us are here tonight, is to actually hear about all our tools and to assess which one would suit us best. So no, definitely not. That would definitely not is your only option. So thank you for your questions. Oh, one more.
This may be related to all the procedures, so
Sure.
you may want to come back to it.
Sure.
But someone is asking how the operations affect someone with a stomach that is not perfect, someone who had celiac or leaky gut. for
Okay.
instance.
All right. So one of the things is with celiac and leaky gut, and I'm sure dietitian will pipe in here and say a lot of those are intestinal issues, aren't they? So realistically, we're dealing with the stomach. So those of you who might be, having issues with lactose, gluten, celiac, all those sorts of things, this is where close contact with our dietitian and with myself, the nurse, here would be absolutely advantageous. However, in saying that, that's not going to inhibit any of the use of our tools. In fact, that's one thing that we can just take and roll with, and Erin would absolutely love to work with anyone who have, extra sensitive issues, and I'm sure she'd big smile from Erin, so she's very happy to do that. So no, that won't inhibit you. So yeah, definitely have a listen tonight and choose which tool suits you. Hi.
I've never heard of the balloon before. Can
Yeah.
you give me an idea of what costs are involved in the procedure and all?
Sure. So the lovely girls afterwards will be able to go through all your costs for you. Yep, absolutely. That's not a problem at all. Hello.
I was just wondering, you said that the balloon stays in for 6 months.
It
Is
does.
there a reason why for 6 months, not for longer?
Yeah, sure. So at the moment, this particular brand of balloon is TGA approved for 6 months. So what it's saying is that after 6 months, your stomach is it is an acidic environment. So we do have to have parameters for it. And when they developed that, they said, okay, look, at the very most, we think it is safe for this. So that's why they've done that. However, that's not stopping us from saying, okay, we want to do the full 12-month program, because all of those fantastic tools that you've learned in that first 6 months, we want to continue on down the road for your weight loss journey. So that's why they have that. Yeah.
So it can't go longer.
No, we don't do that longer. And that's once again, that's why we teach you all these really great habits, so that when the balloon does come out, that's why you'll use all of those great habits and continue your weight loss journey.
Could you not have another balloon inserted after 6 months?
It really depends on how you're going with your weight loss. A lot of the time, oh goodness, I'm falling over. A lot of the time we do prefer to see you, my boss is laughing at me, that's never a good thing, see how your journey goes. So it really depends on how you're going with your balloon. More often than not, we find our patients have the balloon out and then they continue their journey, and they're doing really, really well with that. So people not necessarily don't need it, but they're really happy with their progress. And so it does have a thought that's crossed a lot of people's minds, which is good. So it means that the balloon's working. It means the tool's working for them and they're working with their tool. Hello.
Post-operatively, is there
Yes.
any restrictions, like physically? Are you
Okay.
restricted?
So the question was, post-op, are there any restrictions or anything like that? Post-operatively, one of the things about the balloon is that we do give you medication to take home, because nausea, vomiting and cramping will be side effects. Okay, they'll be short term, but there's something that we do discuss with you, and there's something that we do actually treat you for actively, because we know that it could be something that might happen to everyone. As for actual physical, any restrictions, no, there's not, because it's not surgical. We're not cutting into anything. We're not altering any shape, and we don't have any suture lines or anything, which is really great. So no, we don't. The only thing is obviously portion control. So we're reducing how much we're eating, which is really good. Any more questions? Oh, one more about the balloon.
Yes, Natalie, this is balloon related, and 2 people are asking the question because they have a BMI of 45 or over,
Yes.
and they want to know if the balloon is an option, a non-invasive option for someone with that BMI.
Yeah. The answer, in short, absolutely. And we actually have patients who might be super obese, who actually need to lose a little bit of weight prior to having sleeve surgery. Or one of our wonderful patients actually had the balloon as an option first, because she was waiting for her super to come through or her insurance to come through. I can't remember which way it was. Insurance. She was waiting for her insurance to come through. She actually had the balloon in situ and did that and lost
30 kilos.
30 kilos and ended up having the sleeve. Was that all up, Felicity? She lost 30 kilos all
Just
up?
with the balloon.
Just with the balloon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
before she had her sleeve surgery, and then moved into her sleeve when her insurance came through. So absolutely, it's definitely an option for you. And if non-surgical is something that you're really interested in, and it's definitely something that suits you, then absolutely. Yeah, we can definitely have a chat about that. That's not a problem. Anyone got any more questions?
You just said then that you could actually have the balloon and then go into sleeve surgery.
Yes.
What, and you said it's day surgery.
It
In
is.
the morning, out in the afternoon.
Absolutely. Day surgery, in the morning, out in the afternoon. And it's the same with the removal. So the removal of the balloon is exactly the same, and it's just the reverse. They go in, they take the fluid out, and then they remove the balloon. And so with post-operative, what we tend to say is post the balloon 1 week off work if you can. And that's just a recovery and while you're trying to get lots of fluid in, okay? Post-removal, you're 48 hours and you're back to work, back to normal life, because we're not putting anything in, we're taking it out, and then you're back into your normal life. Hi.
How much can you eat with a balloon in as opposed to the sleeve?
Sure. So the differences between food consumption with a lot of our tools is not much. There's not much of a difference between any of our tools, and that's the point, which is the really great thing, okay? So with our balloon, eventually what we're talking after your first, and Erin, the lovely dietitian, will go through our post-operative diet very shortly, okay? After 6 weeks, which is a short time that we do our post-op diet for, with the balloon, we tend to be aiming for about a little bit, say about this big to start with, everyone at home, okay? Eventually moving in after a couple more weeks to entree size. All right, and that's where we aim for with all of our band patients and where we aim for with our sleeve patients. Now, obviously, if you're having surgery, it will take you longer to get there. Whereas non-surgical, non-invasive, nothing to heal. You've just got to get over some of the side effects of the balloon initially, and then you'll be eating your entree size a little bit faster than you might with your sleeve. But eventually, they're all about the same, which is the great thing about our tools here. Yeah. Any other questions?
Great. So, with the recovery time, you said a week off work when
Yep, with the balloon. Yeah.
when you have it inserted.
Yeah.
If you have a job where you don't move too much, you're kind of at a desk and you're there most of the time.
Yeah.
Can it be less?
Absolutely, and it depends on how you go post-operatively. Okay, so if you give yourself a good 3 or 4 days to recover, some people get the nausea, or a lot of people get the nausea and vomiting. It is one of those side effects that can happen. And once you're sort of over that, which may take a couple of days, a few days, then if you're feeling well enough, then absolutely. We say a week just to give you a guideline. Yeah. What I might do, does everyone mind if I move on? Is that okay? Because that way I can get on to the next one and the next one. Is that all right with everyone? Great. So any questions, please feel free to ask me at the end because I'll be around. What I'll do is I'm very, very briefly touch on the band for the lady up the back, just really briefly. But feel free to ask me questions at the end because I'm only going to touch on it really briefly if that's okay for today. Who's heard of the lap band? Fantastic tool. Great, fantastic tool. Been around, it is one of the longest bariatric surgery sort of alternatives that we have had for a long time, which is really great. And the reason it's been around for so long and it's still working is because it works and it's excellent, okay? The great thing about the band is that it is fully controlled by you, okay? So one of the things is we put the band around the top of the stomach, and this is a great tool for those, again, who want full control over things, and it is reversible and it is non-permanent. So that's the other great thing about the band. So we put it around the top of the stomach like that and form a gorgeous little pouch up the top. And that becomes your new stomach. So you can see that, there's not a lot of room in there, okay? And that we do actually, every time you have a meal, you do get full very quickly, which is great, okay? Now, how we control how tight that is comes to do with this port. So what we do is we have this up the top of the stomach and the port sits underneath the skin just down here. And this is where you and I become best mates. You come and visit me quite frequently initially, and what we do is we adjust the band to titrate it to suit you. Okay, which is really great. And that's the great part about the band because you have full control over it. Okay, so it's a really, really great tool for those who like full control, who want a surgical solution, something a bit bigger than the balloon, a little bit more permanent, but nothing surgically permanent. Okay, and that's the really, really great option about the band. Yeah. Did you have any questions before I move on about it? Great. If you like, I'll come and see you a bit later about it. It's really, really good.
I just have one.
Yeah, of
So that
course.
port,
Yeah.
you can feel like through your skin.
Yes, absolutely, and that's how I access it. So I will actually get my fingers and I'll have a poke and a prod, and usually it's quite close to the surface, and then I'll get my fingers on it, and then it's no worse than a blood test. Little quick injection, and then I inject your port. So every time we go through and we inject that port, you get a little bit more restriction. And so again, we titrate it to suit you. So if you're finding that you're able to eat too much, you're thinking, okay, I'm able to eat a whole schnitzel and chips, that's not what we want. We want entree size. Okay, so that's when we might tighten it a little bit.
So how long can you have that for? Like 6 months for the
Yep.
balloon?
Yep.
Is that like a semi-permanent thing?
Absolutely. One of my patients has had theirs for 15 years. Yep. So absolutely. Yeah, which is really, really great. So that's why, again, it's a really fantastic. If you're looking for a non-surgical, non-permanent solution, again, that's really good. Hi.
I have a band question. and
Great.
It's in relation to someone has had a band and it worked well until they took a long haul flight. Although I still have to chew really well, I do not get full very quickly. I've got about 6 mil in the band.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get any help with this?
Absolutely, of course. And that's where I come in. And you come in, you see me, we have a chat about what's going on with you and your band, and then we can decide whether or not you need an adjustment or not. So absolutely. One of the things about a stomach, and this will come with any of our tools, is that stomachs are like toddlers. Actually, I might pass this around. You poke them, they scream. Okay? Bands in particular, patients are a little bit more aware of that because bands, your stomachs are quite susceptible. Whoever, when they get stressed, who can't eat when they get stressed? Yeah, I can't eat. Yeah, a couple of people can't eat when they, or some people have the opposite effect. And that's because literally your stomach is reacting to your stress and your hormones. Who can't eat first thing in the morning? Yep, quite a few people. Your stomach is reacting to the fact that you're just waking up. All right. And so, yeah, it's really, really interesting to find. So band patients may, and this is the great thing about band is they can titrate that to suit their lives, which is really good. Oh, one more question.
Just a comment from the same person in relation to the band.
Great.
And that was, they found if they tighten it any more that they can't eat.
Okay.
Now, would that be something that they should discuss with both the nurse and the dietitian to help solve that problem?
Absolutely. Yeah. Look, with Weight Loss Solutions Australia, we work so closely together that more often than not, Erin's and my office is literally next door. So we usually open the door and stick our heads in the other office and go, hey, have you spoken to such and such yet? Can you come in here and have a chat? So absolutely, most definitely, that would definitely help. Yeah. All right, I might move on to the sleeve if that's okay with everyone. So who's heard of the sleeve? Yeah, great. So the sleeve is an absolutely fantastic surgical option for weight loss. Okay, really, really common. It's really popular because of the fantastic results that we are getting, which is really great. Okay, it is a 2-night stay in hospital. All right, it is under a general anaesthetic. Okay, and what we do is we actually take 80% of your stomach. All right, we seal this off with titanium staples, titanium staples, glue, and Teflon. And before you ask, no, you don't beep when you go through airport security. No different to a titanium knee. So no, you don't beep, which is great. The reason we seal that off so well is one of the complications that is a less than 1% chance with Dr. Abid is a leak. Who's done some research on the sleeve? Has anyone come across the word leak? Yeah, it's one of the nasty things that can happen, okay? But it's a very, very small risk. Okay, and so a lot of what we do in that first few weeks is all about keeping that risk at the absolute minimum, which is really important. So when Erin talks about your post-operative diet, a lot of that is about keeping the stomach really still so that we can make sure that we reduce that risk even more, which is really important. Okay, so no hot chips in that first 2 weeks. Otherwise, you'll have Erin to answer to. And even though she looks little, she's fierce, trust me. I've been on the other end of that. It's not good. All right. The really good thing about this one is that obviously you don't have any foreign bodies. Okay. Once we get over that initial 6-week post-op diet and moving on into that 2nd, 3rd, 4th month, the only thing you need to concentrate on is getting nutrient-dense meals. Okay. So there's no titrating. There's no adjusting, nothing like that, which is really great for some people. So it really is a surgical solution for people who can actually have their surgery done and then go, okay, all I need to concentrate on now is making sure every time I eat, I'm eating a nutrient-dense meal, which is really, really great. Okay. It is for patients who have BMIs about a 35 and over. However, of course, that doesn't take in any highest adult weight considerations or those sorts of things. So they're things that we all look at when you come in and have a chat to myself and Erin. And Leslie, the psychologist as well, which is really, really good. A lot of what we do is, like I said, related to the fact that we want to keep that stomach still. Now, after 6 weeks, you'll start to find that you can actually eat a little bit more and a little bit more, okay? At the end of 12 months, we're looking at entree size. which is really great. So it's a fantastic portion control solution, which is really, really excellent. Now, initially the weight loss is quite rapid, and you will find that a lot of patients lose weight quite quickly initially, and then they'll stabilize, which is really, really good because it gives you that really good boost and it gives you that extra energy that you need to keep going with your nutrient-dense meals and things like that. It's done laparoscopically. Who knows what laparoscopically means? Keyhole surgery? Yeah. Okay, so when keyhole surgery, what we do is we actually blow it up, your belly up with gas, and that goes for any laparoscopic surgery. Okay, so there's 3 major pain complaints I get about this particular piece of surgery. The first one is related to that gas. Who's heard of shoulder tip pain when it comes to laparoscopic surgery? Anyone had it? Yeah, it's almost like day 2, day 3, you're sitting there going, what did they do? Did I do the Macarena when I was asleep? Like my shoulders are sore, and it's because of this gas. Okay, so there's ways to get around that: movement, heat week packs, peppermint tea, things like that. The second pain complaint I get is, well, you may have had major renovations. You will get a bit of pain. But by day 2, day 3, Panadol is usually enough, which is really good. So the pain, who's had any ladies here had a cesarean? Nothing like that, I've been told. So you're all right. You've been through that, we're sweet, okay, which is really good. Even gallstone pain apparently is a lot worse. Yeah, it's nasty. Okay, so that's really, really great. The third major pain complaint I get about this one is because this is a long, thin tube, now we don't want it to flip on itself. So what we do is we anchor it back in. So we use an anchoring stitch to anchor back in internally. Now that stitch will dissolve over time, okay, which is really great. But every now and again you might feel like a fingertip and it just sits underneath your ribs and it sits there and you just think, oh gee, I'm not very comfortable, that's a bit annoying. Or you might reach over, you know, grab the remote, or you might do something like that. Oh, yep, there's that stitch pain Natalie was telling me about, okay? So that can happen as well. With your, you've got 5 port sites that you'll have, and a port site is the stab site that we use. The bottom right-hand one will probably be the sorest, okay? But they've all got dissolvable stitches in them, which is really good, so there's nothing that we have to remove or anything like that, which is great. I know there's something else I want to tell you, but has anyone got any questions while I try and think of what else I want to say?
I've got these questions, so I'm trying to keep them off later. But
Sure.
You're saying for the sleeve you remove about 80%. Can you
Yes.
request a different site, different percentage?
Look, what we do, Dr. Adib is really conservative when it comes to his surgeries, which is actually a really good thing. And he's found over the years and years that he's been doing this, that 80% is actually the optimal level for pretty much everyone. Because what it finds is that a lot of people get the best results with that. So we do stick to that size, yeah, because it does give us the best results possible, which is great.
How long do you need off to have that?
Sure, so how long do you need off? Great question. What we say is 1 week minimum, 2 weeks would be great. Okay, now because we are cutting the abdominal muscles, we do need to watch out post-operatively for heavy lifting and things. So, you know, for those of you who might have a job that might involve that sort of thing, looking at light duties for a couple of weeks is, you know, if that's an option, that's what we ask as well. But usually 2 weeks is plenty. Yeah, depending on what you do, of course, as well. So if you're at an office and you're really quite dying to get back, or if you're running your own business from home, you know, this is where it fits in with you, which is the great thing. During those first couple of weeks, like Erin will tell you shortly, you're learning, you're just really sipping. You're sipping continually on fluids. So a lot of that time is just about you, rest, recuperation, and just sipping on your fluids. Yeah, which is great. Hey, yeah.
Are there any complications for it? Because the reason I'm asking is I have 2 very good friends I work with, and both now, one's already headed part 2 gastric bypass.
Yep.
And the other one's heading that way as well.
Yeah. So complications that can happen, we talked about the leak earlier. That's probably the one that sits in my head the most. The reason why some people may need bypass is because sometimes they're not using their tool, and unfortunately that's what it comes down to a lot of the time. And this is why we say to you why we have the 12-month program. We don't do the surgery and kick you to the curb. Okay, that's why we say use and abuse us, because we are here for that full 12 months, and we want you to use your tool as efficiently as you can.
Because I'll be honest, that scares me because I see both of them. One is basically anorexic, and the other one's last time she was at 100 kilos. She's down to about 54 kilos.
Yeah. So again, that depends on their height, and it depends on what's happening with their BMI and things like that. And that's why we have a dietitian with you all the time, who is available all the time to have a chat to see how you're going, you know, all of those sorts of things, to encourage you in the ways we need to encourage you, and to do what with you that we need to do. And that's a great thing about the tools that we have here and the way we do it is that it is a full encompassing thing. We don't just do your surgery. And I just, you wonder how much support other people have gotten, which obviously concerns us because we think, we know how much support we give everyone else and we know how much it helps, because we don't want a year and okay, see you later. We want to know that in 5, 10, 15 years, you're still using your tool. Yeah. So what I might do is, if it's okay for everyone, we might leave the questions till later. Is that okay? I'm here all evening. So if you think of anything, please come and ask me.
Thank you. Great questions, and thank you for interacting and asking your questions. That's just fantastic. And Natalie has got a lot to share. I'll just reinforce that, in 16 years of being involved in this industry and seeing what I'm seeing now with patients with sleeve gastrectomy or any procedure, the follow-up is critical. And honestly, we've spent a lot of time developing a program that we know works, that we've researched and that we've presented overseas. We actually presented in about 2004 the very first presentation on does follow-up attendance equate to better weight loss outcomes. It's since been published in many journals, but that came from this clinic. We do get involved in a range of research opportunities. We do like to be at the cutting edge of the future of where bariatric surgery is going to take us. But we know, and we've spent a lot of time developing a program and working with an amazing team, because we know that what we want is a future for you beyond just 1 year of weight loss. It's about 5 years, 10 years, and it's about the rest of your life. And having a vision of, for me, I like to see a vision for all of our patients of what does your life look like in 10, 20, 30 years from now and beyond, and what does functional fitness mean? We would love to see our patients never need to see an endocrinologist, a cardiologist, and pretty much never actually need to think about, am I ever going to end up in a nursing home? And that means managing your weight now and dealing with the potential comorbidities that could arise down the track, or potentially that you're dealing with right now. And we see the rewards daily. We see patients come in at 7 weeks post-op who are off their antidepressants, off their type 2 diabetes medication, or drastically reducing their medication. So all of those things off CPAP machines at 2 weeks post-op. I've seen that many times, which is quite phenomenal when it's such an inhibiting device to actually have to live with. Plus the multiple patients who live with sleep apnea undiagnosed, or refuse to actually have to think about the fact that CPAP machine is where they're heading. But, to see those resolutions, those are the kind of things that we get to share and see in patients every day. The rewards are just, they're unlimited. In your little goodie bags down there, you do all have a little notepad and a pen. I might just ask you all to take that out for a minute, because what I'd like you to think about for a moment and just write down for yourself before I introduce the next speaker is a little bit about, what are your goals? What do you want to see? How would you like to see yourself 12 months from now? And if you could change 3 things about yourself now and you look at yourself down the track 12 months from now, what would you like to see as a result of your weight loss journey? And it's different for everybody. So this is just something for you. This is for you to hang on to. We're not going to ask you to get it out and show it to us, although you might like to share it with a psychologist at some point. But it's really, really important to start thinking about that. And I saw a patient in here yesterday who's she's a sleeve gastrectomy patient. She's had an amazing story, great results. She'd just come back from an overseas trip. And just sitting chatting to her, that one of the biggest things for her was to be able to sit in an economy class seat and not need to ask for that extension seatbelt. And for a number of reasons, it wasn't just about the self-esteem and not needing to ask for that, but being comfortable on an overseas flight. That's huge. That's just such a big advantage. And we forget about the little things that other people take for granted. And one thing that I might also mention is, as a team, we like to get you involved in being more physically active as you're capable and able to get involved in exercise and fitness programs, and find that something that you love, whether it's cycling or walking or hiking or stand-up paddleboarding. It doesn't really matter what it is. But as a team, we actually went and did the Q1 stair climb a couple of weeks ago. And it's 1,331 steps, which is 77 floors. Yeah, it wasn't that hard, but, we take that maybe sometimes for granted that, when we're walking up those stairs, that some of the people who were actually in that stairwell with us were really challenged by that. Those are the things that we want you to be able to do with ease. you know, and join us on the next one, for example. So, you know, you'll get there. It's not that hard. Some of my staff might not like the fact that they have to do it a second. Take two. It's like, we'll have her doing a half marathon before too long. So yeah, some of the things to think about. How are you going with writing down those things? Starting to get you to think about a few things? Yes.
Liz says she wants to be able to chase her kids around.
Absolutely, and that's a priority for so many people who actually can't get down and play with their children, who don't feel confident to go to the park with their kids, or even just going to the beach. You know, those things are so valuable. You know, that's lifestyle. That's really living and being able to get involved with children. So yeah, love that.
And another one here is to walk, not get puffed out, and to be able to go into nature, have energy to play with my boys,
Yeah.
play footy with the kids, and be able to buy clothes straight off the rack and not get disheartened trying clothes on.
And those are all realistic opportunities that you will see yourself achieve, you know, sometimes in less than 6 months. So, you know, hard to imagine now, but really they're all realistic and attainable things that you can think about. All right, so our next team member that I'd like to introduce you to is our psychologist team member. And if I think back to, you know, when I started working in this field 16 years ago, that was a bit of a taboo subject. People were terrified. They thought, why do I have to see a psychologist? You know, is it going to be a huge test? I don't want to see a psychologist. And that mentality has changed so much. I think our acceptance of how psychology fits into this world is so, has changed a lot. But for us in this practice, it's critical. And part of that whole follow-up philosophy in terms of where we want to take you at the end of your first 12 months. So I'd ask you to, you know, think about how are you going to embrace that opportunity with each team member? What's that mean to you, and how are you going to connect with them to get the best value for your weight loss long term and for the rest of your life? So a lot to gain from working with each team member. Tonight I'm going to introduce you to Warren, but as I mentioned earlier, Leslie's also here and I'm sure she'd be happy to chat to you after as well. Please make Warren welcome.
It's just as scary as it was 15 years ago. I just read a very nice and motivational quote. It said something like, yesterday I felt like pizza, today I ate pizza. Follow your dreams. I've been in this practice for 9 years now, and it's amazing. I get up here every time and I'm still nervous. So it's one thing that never goes away, it's standing up in front of people and talking. So I need a volunteer. Anybody want to volunteer? No, nobody wants to volunteer.
Can we volunteer? I'll volunteer.
I need a hug.
I can do that. Fellow December birthday. Hello.
We have the same birthday, by the way.
22nd of December. Yeah.
All
Is
right.
that all you need?
That's
All right,
it.
I'll go
That's
right
all I
now.
need. So what did I just do then?
Support.
Support. Yeah, a little bit of support, that's all it is, okay? So I'm not going to hug you every time you come here, but I might try it, but anyway. So that's basically my role. I'm your support network, support person more than anything else. So, you know, we'll get an opportunity to talk a little bit about your work-life balance and, you know, some of the struggles that you've had with your weight. I want to know, you know, your eating habits, your attitude towards healthy lifestyle, exercise, you know, family dynamics. You know, I'm very interested in knowing, you know, who's who in the family and who represents, you know, sort of who runs the household, so to speak, and what the family eating habits are like. Because sometimes it's important to actually engage and bring other family members into the equation as well. So, you know, you're probably all very much aware of this, but when you're on a diet, you're very much in an isolated journey, aren't you? You feel like you're doing something that's really sort of relevant to you and nobody else in the household. You know? You're trying to do all the best things and follow all the right guidelines, and everybody else in the house wants chips and cokes and all those other things to be in the pantry all the time. So it gets a little bit challenging. So one of the things that we need to talk about is, you know, what are the family dynamics, and, you know, who's sort of leading the way, and do we need to bring other people into the equation as well, so we can talk about, you know, what we can do to as a strategy to actually help you not only feel more supported, but in this clinic, but more supported by the people that are around you at home, because at the end of the day, they probably influence your decisions more so than anybody else. So it's very important. Look, we'll probably spend about close to 45 minutes at least, maybe an hour if we have to. And I really want you to come in and I want you to come and talk to me about everything. I want you to talk to me about everything that's bothering you about your weight. I want to know what are the real motivators behind your decision. Some of the things that I also talk about with people are, what is the right procedure for them in terms of their behavior, in terms of their work-life balance. And I'll give you open and honest suggestions. I mean, there have been patients, I can tell you quite honestly, that have come to this clinic and come and spent time with me and have walked out of this clinic actually deciding that they don't want to have surgery. Okay, or they don't want to have a procedure. And in some cases, it's their decision. In some cases, it's actually my recommendation because I don't feel that they're going to get the results that they're actually looking for. And perhaps the procedure is wrong and perhaps the procedure is not the one that they're interested in. It's perhaps something else. But either way, I'm there to try and help and guide you in terms of what's the right procedure for you, what's going to work, what's going to give you the expectation that you're looking for. And do we need to manage those expectations as well? Because, part of actually succeeding with your weight loss is actually managing your expectations all along the way. So I'm going to do something that I did a couple of times ago. So I want everybody just to stand up quickly. Okay, so what I want you to do, just for a couple of minutes, I'll give you 2 minutes. I want you to find somebody in this crowd here that you don't know. Okay? Everybody. All right, that you don't know. All right, so obviously not the person next to you. And I just want you to take 2 minutes to introduce each other, let each other know who you are, what you're here for, and why this is so important to you. What is that one thing? You can only pick one. What is that one thing that's driving you to want to lose weight?
And the online,
and to go through something like
online
this?
people might like just to write it down for themselves.
My name's
I'm Natasha. You can be called my mom. I'm motivated to have a baby. I think
Well, I found that getting older. So I had to quite
Yeah, we're looking at it like we have an outline, like
Yeah, everybody done? All right. I just want to ask you guys, before you came to this, was anybody, did anybody sort of have it in the back of their mind, any sort of apprehension as to whether they would tell somebody if they were going to do this? If you were going to go through with gastric sleeve surgery, does anybody have any concerns about telling somebody out in public? Or, yeah, you do? Okay, so how did that feel?
I'm a very private person anyway.
Sure.
The only person I've told people, I've told my children.
Yeah.
Not even my best friends know that I'm even here. It's not embarrassment. I like to collect
But
information.
how did it feel talking? What's your name?
Carolyn. Releasing. It was really
How did it
releasing.
feel?
And as I said to Carolyn, I'm nice to come into a room where I'm not the only fat person in the room.
Okay, so it's a little bit easier because you're sitting here amongst like-minded people. One of the most common concerns that I've faced over the years talking to people is whether they should tell others or not. Family members, people in public, and obviously some people are private and don't want to mention it to anybody. But the real purpose of that exercise is just like our sort of, as I said, our approach there in a need for some support there, based on a little bit of fear for me. So it gives me a little bit of comfort in this environment. In your situation, you're sharing your goals and your decisions with somebody. And it's quite a relevant topic in the world of psychology, particularly in sports psychology as well. And when you share your goals, and when you share your dreams, just like I've shared my fears with Erin, I feel like I give half of that fear to her, and I feel like I've passed it. So it's less fear for me to have to carry. Okay. But at the same time, when it comes to goals and sharing our goals, what we really want to do is we want to take ownership of them. We want to feel like, and it's this sort of little exercise can sometimes empower people, give you the opportunity to talk amongst like-minded people. We've got forums, we've got people that have been through these procedures, and you've got people that are in this clinic, are very, very experienced with, the nature of this form of weight loss. So, and of course, I've been in this game for many, many years now, but the most important thing is to come in and share your goals and share your dreams and your aspirations, and feel like you take ownership of them. Because the more you talk about it, and the more you express how dear this is to you and how important it is for you to actually, do something about your weight for once and for all, and find a sustainable way to actually keep that weight off and improve your quality of life for good. So part of it, just giving you that opportunity to actually take more ownership of your goal. So I did this many, many months ago. I'm an avid golfer, and I set out a very sort of difficult target to try and become a scratch golfer by the time I was 50. So I'm 32 at the moment. So a long way to go. No, I'm only joking. I'm 46. But anyway, I set this target out about 3 years ago. But if I didn't tell anybody, if I just kept it to myself and I said, "Oh, I want to be a scratch golfer," what is the problem with me not telling anybody or something like that?
No accountability.
Ownership.
I'm not obliged to do anything. I'm not obliged to go and train or practice or get any better. But if I've mentioned and I said, that's my goal. I want to be, by the time I'm 50, I want to be a scratch golfer. I now have to become more responsible, don't I? I have to be very responsible. I can't just go out and say that. I've got to be seen down there practicing, chipping, putting, doing all the things that are actually going to help me. Okay? And that's part of what this is.
Can I ask what your handicap is now?
Sorry?
What's your handicap now?
My handicap is 5.8. So I started at 18 5 years ago. 5.8. So I'm getting there. but I'm at the most difficult part, so it's very, very difficult. The closer you get, the harder it gets.
Free golfers.
Oh, there you go. That's the only reason I came tonight, because I knew I was going to meet some golfers. All right, anybody got any questions for me?
It's got to be
I put
one.
money on
Just
it
one.
every time I come in.
One question.
have a
There's got
bet.
to be one.
That nobody ever has a question for me.
I'll ask one.
Yay.
What do you find is the main reason for overeating with people in general? Is it emotional or is it habitual or what?
It could be it's so many, there's no real one, there's no one answer to that question. Overeating is generally, may have started out as a poor timing issue with meals and evolved into one meal where you're overeating, 2 meals maybe. But there's hormonal influences as well. So you have ghrelin production which takes place in your stomach. The more foods you eat, the more ghrelin production you generally have. So there's those things to consider. There's also things to consider like people who don't eat breakfast. I can tell you now that in the 3,000 people that I've seen over the last 9 years, right, 95% of them don't eat breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you come in here, right, that's golden rule number 1 for me is you have to have breakfast, whether you like it or not. I don't care if you don't like breakfast. I don't care if you can't find anything that you like. You have to eat breakfast because you will never, ever accomplish what you want to accomplish if you don't.
So it's not always an emotional.
No, I mean, not at all. I mean, an emotional eating, might be, actually really might just be boredom eating. It could be emotional eating. People eat when they're happy, they eat when they're sad. I mean, they eat with every emotion that's possible.
Yeah, right.
They just like eating. But at the end of the day, it could be emotional, it could be overeating because there's not enough energy to get to that point in the first place. It could be, overproduction of ghrelin over time, which has led to overeating at a particular meal, generally dinner. So there's a whole range of things. It could be excessive amounts of exercise that leads you to need, have more calories. So, there's a lot of things to consider, and there's a lot of things for us to talk about. So I don't only see you once. I actually generically will schedule to see you again at 6 weeks, 6 months, and 12 months. Those are your generic 3 visits, okay? But that doesn't mean you can't come see me more often. You must come and see us as often as you need to. You need to come every month. You come every month. It's just like sport. When you look at the top sports people around the world, right? All they do, the reason they are so good at what they do, aside from talent and commitment, is they surround themselves with the right people. They've got the best coach, the best psychologist, the best nutritionist, best personal manager. They've got everything. Everybody else does all the hard work for them around them, and they just follow the guidelines, just follow the rules and keep it simple. So that's what we'll try and do with you, make everything simple, follow some rules, set guidelines, and whatever you do, eat breakfast. My biggest meal of the day is breakfast.
Yeah.
Got a clinic in Brisbane?
Sorry?
Have you got a clinic in Brisbane?
We don't have a clinic in Brisbane, but we do see a lot of patients from the Brisbane area. We see patients from all over the country and all over the world, where people fly here from overseas to come have surgery with us. From Middle East, from the UK, from Hong Kong.
You can access your appointments via phone and Skype as well, so you don't always have to physically be on site.
Okay.
Yeah, so if that's a concern for you, in fact, can I just step in and answer that? Sorry.
Would you like to take
Just for the, no, I wouldn't dare do that. Just also for people online, because they're obviously distance patients and wanting to know how they access all of their appointments and to be sure that they do have the same connection as people who are close by. And that's one of the reasons why we do have Skype and phone available, so that no one misses out on having that consistent connection with all of the team. And we've grown that, availability over time because of the benefit. We also find that some of our local patients prefer to do that so that they don't have to drive 45 minutes. That doesn't, eliminate, the benefit of being on site. If you're close, I'd be making the effort to come as often as you can. And in between time, phone, Skype is good. Sorry, Warren.
That's okay. Any other questions? No?
Thank you very much.
Golf question?
All right, thank you very much. Hopefully that's given you some insight into the value of connecting with a psychologist team member. I often explain to people that it's, it's your opportunity to unpack all the things that have been the barriers and obstacles in your life that have led you to where you've got to now. And over those 12 months, you can deal with all of that, but also at the same time, deal with whatever you're going through as you're becoming a thinner person too, because each and every person is different. Some people have difficulty seeing themselves as a thinner person and learning to adjust to that new image. So that self-image is all of a sudden quite drastically changed. And I think specifically of one of our patients, she's a nurse, she'd lost 40 kilos by about 6 months, and she was walking through a shopping centre and caught sight of someone who she thought was a really good looking lady, and doesn't she look lovely, but didn't actually realise that it was actually her own reflection. So, it's funny, all of those things are things that you've got this, that is kind of amusing, isn't it? But, it happens, and you don't know what your journey is going to be or what the barriers or challenges might be throughout that time as well. So having your psychologist team member always available is really important for you. So I would just say, use the opportunity. I just want to mention to our online viewers, there's a few people asking questions about polycystic ovarian syndrome. Just to let you know that, one of the significant groups of people, and Natalie did touch on this, that we do see many patients with endometriosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and infertility issues that come to see us. And, weight loss being obviously a means to an end so that they can eventually fall pregnant, have children, carry to term and have healthy pregnancies. And those are some of the issues that the medical team will actually be able to deal with and answer your questions. In fact, Erin might touch a little bit on the PCOS issue for you when she's up here chatting. For all of our online viewers, if you didn't actually hear me earlier, there are 2 amazing patient guest speakers here tonight, so please stay with us so that you get to hear them. We've got a lot to share tonight. All right, so next I would like to introduce you to our dietitian, Erin, to tell you a little bit about her role. Please make her welcome.
Hello everyone. I'm just going to start by saying I am really impressed that our psychologists are so behind breakfast. I actually didn't realise that went on during the consultation, so that's really good to know. That's something I can just check off my list now. Fantastic. Now my name's Erin. I'm the dietitian here at Weight Loss Solutions. I've been here since July last year. And my background is actually in cancer care and chronic disease management. And I still do a little bit of that as well. And we're talking a little bit about sort of taboo and maybe not being, ready to necessarily share, thinking about weight loss surgery with friends and family, or even sort of telling people that we're here tonight, looking into a surgery like this. As a dietitian, I even find that there are other, healthcare practitioners, other dietitians, other doctors who are maybe not necessarily so well educated with weight loss surgery and how far we've come with that. Even to the point where I have other people say to me, how do you find, working with such different groups of patients? And the way that I always answer that is, yes, I see some really horrible things, some really terrible diseases, some really unfortunate people. I come to work here on the days that I'm here, and every single day I'm seeing people who, despite many factors in their lives, are choosing to put their health first, and who are actually choosing to improve the quality of life, improve their health, improve their relationships with their families, because you've got this wonderful opportunity now, being here, learning about some of these procedures, learning about ways in which you can actually make your life a happier and healthier and longer life. And I just think that's fantastic. I think being able to be a part of that is really, really special. And our whole team feels that way. Our whole team really values that so much. So I think everybody should just really be commended for even coming here. Whether you've been able to share this with friends, family, anybody or not, I think it's a really fantastic thing that all of you are actually sitting here wanting to be proactive in your own health. That's really, really great. Now, who's actually seen a dietitian before at any point in their lives? Yes, we've had one. Few of you, maybe? Yeah? Did you like them? Yeah? Not so much. How did you find working with a dietitian in the past? Because generally speaking, by the time somebody comes in to see me through this clinic here, they've tried just about every single weight loss method that I can think of, and I've actually learned new things from people who tell me things that they've tried in the past. So that's always fun for me. There's something I learn new just about every single day. So in the past, when you've worked with dietitians in the past, what was maybe some of the barriers to you really achieving your goal and getting to where you wanted to get? Yell it out at me. Or if you're online, answer me as well. What maybe didn't work so well? I can share a few of the things that would normally, that people would normally say. And this goes for whether you've worked with dietitians, whether we've been part of weight loss boot camps or fitness programs, whether we've tried shakes, pills, potions, whatever it is. Normally what people will say to me is, I start the program, I do everything as I'm supposed to. The second the program stops, everything comes back on, plus a little bit more. And it turns into this cycle. And we sort of go through years of our lives where we're just at some point in the cycle where they're either losing weight or gaining weight back really quickly. And we just go around and around and around in circles. Normally by the time we find people come through the door to meet us, they're really sick and tired of that game. Yeah. Okay. Now, what you will, I guess, what to expect when you come and meet me for the first time, if it's something where you haven't quite made up your mind about which particular procedure you feel is most suited to you, we talk about, I guess, the pros and cons and where you're sort of at, what would be most suitable for you. But the main thing that I really want to achieve with anybody who I'm working with, no matter what procedure, is that the whole point of having one of these procedures done, whether we're using the temporary device, the balloon, or even the sleeve, which is our surgical option, or the band. What I really want to achieve and what I really love to see, you develop in the time that we're working together, is taking you out of that diet mentality. So taking you out of thinking, I'm on a diet, I have to be restricted, there has to be really strict rules about what I can and can't have, and I guess feeling like this is just another version of what we've always done in the past. Because what you're doing by looking into one of these procedures, with going ahead with one of these procedures, isn't putting you on a diet, it's changing your lifestyle, it's changing how you relate to food, how we think of food, how we think about nourishing our bodies. It's learning about nutrition and learning about how that actually relates to all aspects of your life. So that's really what we want to achieve in working together. Okay, so show of hands again for who's interested in the gastric balloon. Yeah, a few people, and there's a few people online interested in the balloon as well. So I'll go through that one first. What would be, I guess, what you'd be expecting the first time you come to see me when we're looking at the balloon is what we actually have to do to prepare your stomach to accept that balloon. So with something that sits inside the stomach, what we need to do, it sits up in here, what we need to do is decrease some of that enzyme activity and decrease some of the acid sort of acidity as well. So what we actually do is we work out a fluid-based diet that goes for a few days before you have your balloon inserted. So like Natalie mentioned, it's inserted via an endoscope. So we need to make sure that your stomach is completely safe, that it's nice and cleared, so that when we're retracting that endoscope up, we're not putting you at risk of bringing anything up along there with it. Now, your stomach, after we've had the balloon inserted, needs to adjust to digesting around the balloon. So we've actually adapted the exact same recovery process and recovery diet as what we would use for the sleeve of the band. So what I might do is jump over to these ones quickly. Now, show of hands for who's interested in the sleeve again. Yeah, probably most of you. And the band, there was a couple of ladies down the back looking at the band. Some people may be tossing up between both. You probably heard of both. Not quite sure which one maybe will suit your lifestyle best. With the band and with the sleeve, the preparation for these procedures is identical. So what we need to do for these two procedures is make your body as safe as possible to have the surgery. So that involves shrinking your liver down. So in the research that people have done with these procedures, has anyone come across the preoperative diet or heard of it? Yeah? Okay. So this isn't about weight loss. This isn't about losing weight before the surgery. This is about making sure that you're safe for the surgery. So your liver is a very big organ and it sits around just in front of the stomach. Now, because this is keyhole surgery, it means we don't have a whole lot of room to go in and move things around. So what we need to do is make sure that the liver is nice and small so that any excess fatty tissue or fatty streaking that might be there present in the liver, we want to make sure that we reduce all of that before the surgery. So depending on your weight or on your body mass index, we will do a 2 to 3 or sometimes 4 week pre-op diet to make sure that that liver size comes all the way down, because that helps the surgeon out a lot, and it means that the procedure can be done in as short amount of time as possible, and it reduces the amount of time that we need to be under anaesthetic. So it's a really important part of that. Now, the way in which we reduce that liver volume is we go on to what we call a very low calorie diet or a medically supervised diet. Has anybody ever heard of those before? Yeah? Where have we heard of that? What's an example?
Those shakes that you have, that VL.
Yeah, the shakes. Yeah. Now, most people who come to see me who are preparing for a sleeve or a band surgery, or even the balloon as well, most people have heard of weight loss shakes, have been on a weight loss shake diet, and they sit down in front of me and they go, "You're crazy, I'm never doing that again, it was awful. I hated every second of it." So it is not the same as a weight loss shake based diet, because our aim is not weight loss. And with these shakes, so with things like the most popular one I think out there is Optifast, but there's many, many more now. These actually originated as hospital only foods. So before we started using these kinds of shakes as weight loss drinks and a weight loss program, they used to only be available in hospitals for surgeons to use if somebody had to get fat from around their heart off for a heart surgery, or for a gastrointestinal surgery like this, or even sometimes for kidney surgery. So then once they started figuring out that people were actually losing a lot of weight on these drinks, we started making them something that doctors could prescribe, and now they're something that we can actually buy in our pharmacy. The problem with using them as a weight loss, I guess, solution, is that they're very short term, they're very restrictive, and as soon as you stop having them and we start eating normally again, usually the weight comes back on plus a little bit more. So they're not actually designed to be used as a long-term weight loss method. So we will do a modified version of that, because we still want to make sure your liver's getting enough nutrition, not enough that it's going to be able to sustain itself, so it's going to be forced to metabolize some of that fatty tissue around it. So that's how we bring your liver down. Now, 2 weeks is usually the standard that we would do that for, so it's definitely not as long as maybe what some people have followed these shake diets for. So once we've reduced the liver down and we perform the surgery, you'll then be progressed up onto a normal textured diet. But what we have to remember is that with these 2 procedures, and mostly with the sleeve that this is relevant for, is that now we have a new shaped stomach. So instead of the stomach being a bag-shaped organ that can stretch and expand, it's like a tube. So it's like a continuation from our esophagus into our intestine. So instead of the stomach expanding and mixing and digesting as it does now, it has to learn how to digest differently. It has to learn how to squeeze down the tube. So it's doing the same motion as your esophagus and the same motion as your intestine. Now, one of the questions I get asked by almost everybody is, can I stretch my sleeve? The answer in short is that would be an incredibly difficult thing to do. So this part of the stomach here is not very stretchy. It doesn't have a lot of elastin in it. This outer part of the stomach is where most of that stretching and distending happens when we've eaten food or when we've eaten too much. This inner part of the stomach doesn't have that ability. So I guess long term, with any surgical procedure, if we are not using our tool properly, we can manipulate anything. So absolutely, yes, I have seen people who are not using their tools properly not have the result that they want. So there is no surgical procedure that is going to be the magic pill. But basically, if you're using your tool, if you're eating suitably for the type of weight loss surgery that you've had, then you will have long-lasting results. And that's what research is actually starting to show us, which is really exciting. The sleeve procedure is relatively new in comparison to the band. It's still been around for a long, long time, but it's only now that we're actually starting to see it become much more popular, and we're starting to see a lot more really good long-term research and long-term studies of patients who've had a sleeve who are keeping weight off, and that's fantastic to see. I really, really love it for that reason. So what we need to do, because this part of the stomach is going to be freshly sutured, as Natalie's explained, you've got a few layers of suturing going on there. And likewise with the band, when you have the band inserted, we actually have some around the outside of the band to hold it in place, to make sure that there's no slippages, make sure it's not rolling or sitting in a funny position. So because of that reason, because there's suturing, particularly with the sleeve, we need to make sure that for the first couple of weeks, we're not moving the stomach at all. We're making sure we're on fluids only, because we really, really need to give it adequate time to heal. So that's the most important thing. The most important part of the sleeve procedure happens in the first sort of 2 months. So your pre-operative phase and your post-operative phase. So we need to be on fluids only, because your stomach tissues already are still going to be quite swollen. So there's not much that you're going to be able to fit in anyway. And a lot of the time, I think people put a lot of pressure on themselves to be, I have to be eating protein, I have to be doing this, that, and the other thing. No, first 2 weeks after your sleeve, you are letting your body heal and recover. So that means keeping that stomach still. After the first couple of weeks, you'll come back in, you'll see me, you'll see Natalie, and we'll check to make sure that everything's looking good, that you're tolerating your fluids well. And that's when we'll progress up onto a semi-solid texture, which is a puree. So at that point, your stomach is going to only just start learning how to squeeze food through and digest. So I usually say to people, think of a texture you'd give to somebody who had no teeth at all. So it still needs to be smooth enough that your stomach just needs to contract a little bit to push it through into the intestine. But at that stage, your stomach still won't have the enzyme capacity to break down food properly. So we really have, it's like going back to being a baby all over again. We really have to build up your stomach's capacity to digest. And it doesn't take long, but it really, really does rely on you being diligent and really doing the right thing by your body to allow it to heal. After that, we go up onto soft food. So a good example of a soft food is something like spaghetti bolognese, or cooked steamed vegetables or fish or eggs. So a texture that can be chewed down really easily, that your stomach is going to start breaking down inside. And then after that, we progress up onto a full textured diet. But we do all of this at your pace. So it's not a race. It's not I have to be at this stage by this date and this stage by this date. We will progress you as you feel and as you're tolerating, which is why we work so closely with you. Probably in the first couple of months of this, you'll be hearing from me more than you hear from anyone. And that's because I need to know what's happening and what you're tolerating and what we can and can't go ahead with yet. So there's no real time frame, there's no pressure. And what I usually say to people, right at the start in the very first consultation is that we will get there. If it takes us 12 months, 24 months, 3 years, 4 years, it doesn't matter. We will get to the goal. We will get there. But we have to just give our body some time to heal first, and then to start going through the motions of how life's going to be after weight loss surgery. So once we move through the recovery phase of, the sleeve or the band as well, once we get you back up onto eating a normal textured diet, it's only then that we start looking at, okay, what do we need to change long term? What do we need to learn to go on from here? And that's when we really start doing some of that real education about our nutrition and about our health. And so you'll work a lot closely probably with me and then with Warren and Leslie in that phase as well. So does anybody have any questions for me at this stage? Any questions?
Just one quick one.
Yep.
Amanda's asking, how does that particular diet, or how are your vitamin levels affected by the diet pre and post surgery?
Okay, so the question, I'll just repeat the question for everybody online. The question was, how do you go in terms of your vitamins and minerals and nutrition pre-surgery and post-surgery? That's a really, really good question, because with the sleeve surgery in particular, what we need to do is go onto a standard multivitamin. Now, the reason for that is not because you're at risk of becoming malnourished, but during the initial stages, so during your recovery, our focus is not on getting in, I guess, certain goals nutritionally. It is about recovery. It is about physically getting your stomach able to digest again. All of the nutrition side of things, how much protein, how much, I guess, overall calories in a day we need, all of that we will go through after the recovery, when your stomach is physically able to do its job and digest properly. But definitely in the pre-surgery phase and the post-surgery phase, a good quality multivitamin. And look, I'll be honest, it's usually a pregnancy multivitamin because that has a fair bit more iron and B12 in it. We do need to make sure we have that on board just as a safety net. But we will also do regular blood tests with you to make sure that if we're dropping low in anything in particular, that we're boosting that and we're staying on top of it.
Do you think we could save the rest of the questions
sure.
for after? And please stay to ask any questions that you have of Erin when we've finished all the formal presentations. Is that okay? Lovely. Fantastic. Thank you so much. As you can see, we've got a team who are the most knowledgeable people I've ever had the opportunity to share with a group of patients their knowledge, their experience, their passion, and how much they have to share with you between them all is phenomenal. I would actually just encourage you again, make the most of an amazing team, engage with them, work with them, and learn as much as you can through your 12-month journey. You do have unlimited access to them. There are routine, specified times when we recommend and say we really want you here. But outside of those parameters, your access is 100% unlimited. So great opportunity for you to work with them all. Just very briefly, as a team, we love to get you involved in all sorts of events, and we do run programs for you that are a little bit outside of what we offer from a surgical point of view. Our first event for the year for patients this year is a cooking class. This room becomes our pop-up kitchen, and we've got a guest chef who's actually presenting an amazing session for us. The one after that I think we're doing is a clothes swapping event, but we do all sorts of things like that. So we do look to how do we engage with you and give you opportunities to not just connect with others, but learn so many different things that you can apply to your everyday life. All right, I now get to the most exciting part of the evening, and that is to introduce you to two wonderful patients. Firstly, for all of our people online tonight, I know there's a lot of you out there who are really interested in the gastric balloon. So first up, I really have, ladies first, I'm sorry, Jason. Were you tossing a coin down there? So sorry. All right, so first of all, I would like to introduce you to Julie. She's a balloon recipient who's had the experience of having a balloon over the 6-month period. And I'd love for her to come along and share all of her story and for you to ask your questions of her. Please make her welcome.
Hi, yes, my name's Julie and I'm post-op balloon 3 months tomorrow. So I've lost over 20 kilos.
Yay!
And feeling really good. I'm type 2 diabetic and my sugars have come down. I just had a blood test come back yesterday. My sleep apnea is going away. I'm sleeping through 4, 5, 6 hours a night, which I never used to be able to do at all. And just, really, really enjoying life, just getting back into everything that I used to be able to do. So I thoroughly recommend it for anyone who doesn't want to have an invasive surgery like sleeve. For me, it was about a kickstart, resetting and going from there, which I've done and feel really good about. Don't know, is there any other questions? Is there any questions you want to ask? Or?
How do you feel about the next 6 months, and do you think you're going to actually make the most of working with the team? How valuable do you see that
look,
for
the
you?
team is just, honestly, I couldn't do it without the support of these guys. You know that they're there. You don't always need them, but I mean, Erin and Natalie they're just amazing people. And they're just there to give you that support that you need along the way. And look, I'm 3 months out and I can do this. This is my life now. This is who I am and this is who I'll stay. So I'm so happy. It's really good. Couldn't do it without these guys. Yes, Erin.
I was just going to say, can you maybe explain to our audience and everyone online what maybe has changed for you the most since having the balloon? Maybe it's eating patterns or lifestyle. What was life like before and what's the comparison now after having the balloon?
The biggest thing for me is portion control. I now eat off a bread and butter plate and the inner circle of the bread and butter plate, not piled high. It's all about the entree size. When I first started thinking about it and I came to one of these sessions, and Carol, who was a nurse here, was my inspiration. And I went away from that thinking, this is what I need, this is what I can do. But I thought, geez, they only give you 6 months, with this little friend inside you, and how are you going to cope? But in that 6 months, you learn so much. The team behind you just teaches you everything you need to know. And you're just restarting everything. You're learning from day dot what to do, what you can do, what you can't do. You know if you eat too much because it just gets uncomfortable. You can't do anything. And so you know to cut back. And I know when I go out now, whether it be breakfast, lunch or dinner, what I can eat. And it's usually an entree size meal.
Sorry, do you still have the balloon?
No,
Oh,
no, it's gone. 3 months. 3 months tomorrow it's out. So, or if it is a big meal, I do struggle sometimes because people won't let you buy an entree and just have that. They want you to have a main meal. So I just eat what I can and I leave it. And you have to learn to leave what's on your plate. Don't eat the whole plate. And that's what I was doing. That's what I grew up with. My parents were like, you're going to eat everything on your plate. You can't leave the table. No, don't do that because it's a false economy. And honestly, now, I go and I buy a nice fillet steak. It's about quality, not so much the quantity. Buy the good food and sit there and enjoy it. Don't go to Macca's or KFC. It's just wasting money. Just go and buy good quality food. So, yeah. But no, I'm looking forward to the next 6 to 12 months. Yes.
Julie, we've got a couple of people asking online there. The question really revolves around how sick were you on day 1, 2, 3, etc.
Good question. Seriously, I was freaking out. I had my freezer full of lemonade popsicles and Lucozade and lemonade and water and everything in my cupboard. I got home and I vomited 3 times. The next morning I got up and that was it. Didn't do it again.
Wow.
So I was, I think, seriously lucky.
You were lucky.
And you have to take it on an individual basis. It's obviously what your body can tolerate. Because it is a foreign object that's in there, obviously. So you are going to have some, you are going to have some rejection. But no, I was really lucky. But I followed the diet. I spoke to the guys about what was going on. And yeah, I didn't have any problems.
So you're 9 months into it?
Yes.
So you've had the 6 months and then 3 months.
Yeah.
And you lost 20 kilos over that 9 months.
Yes. Yeah. Still losing, just little bits, but I'm maintaining. And that's basically, if I can maintain, that's all I really need. I mean, I go walking with my 2 dogs nearly every afternoon. I ride to work when the weather's all right, okay. So, it's just, I make a conscious effort. I park further away than I used to. I walk everywhere pretty much now that I need to go. Even at work, like we have a golf buggy, but I'll just walk wherever I need to. It's about making that conscious effort. You're here tonight because you obviously feel that there's a reason that you need to change your life. And by walking through that door, you've already done it. So just make the decision that's right for you. I knew when Carol spoke that the balloon was what I needed. And I'm so glad that I went ahead with it. I have absolutely no regrets whatsoever. It's been great.
Another online question.
There's actually a couple. One is, do you find there are any foods that you can't eat? And another question is, do you have any excess skin, or are you concerned about excess skin after weight?
Wow, that's a bit private. I guess I have a flabby tummy that I'd like to get, that I'm working on, obviously with exercise and that sort of thing. I have nothing too drastic for cosmetic surgery or anything like that. It's just me, I suppose, working on my gym and, trying to sort of tighten everything up. There's nothing that I can't eat except for what I'm allergic to, which is seafood or crustaceans. But my taste did change. I went from sweets onto more savoury stuff. But I don't eat bread anymore. I don't have butter. I love avocado now, and I never used to eat avocado. And it's all about salads. Like, I really enjoy my salads and all my steamed vegetables. Just everything that's flavoursome without fat. I don't use fat for cooking or anything like that. I'm not sure if it changes for everybody, but it certainly did change for me. So my whole cupboard, pantry, all out and all fresh stuff and everything in anyway. So yeah, so it has made a difference.
I just have one question. Once you had the balloon removed after the 6 months, did you notice that you became more hungry or no?
I still feel like it's in there.
Okay.
Because the amount of food that I eat, if I go to eat any more than that, I get that uncomfortable full feeling. So for me, it doesn't feel any different. It just feels like it's still in there, and nothing's changed. Yeah. So no, it's good. Any other questions?
Is that because your stomach shrinks, or?
Well, I've asked that question, but I don't
What
know
was
if
the
it's.
question?
Does your stomach shrink?
Does your stomach shrink? Was that the
Yes,
question?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so
Or is it your mind that's telling you?
So your stomach as an organ, I think people think that, their stomach sizes are able to stretch really far and then shrink really small. And that's not really the case at all. What happens is we start to program your stomach. So when you're eating small amounts of food, your hormones and your nerves and everything like that controls, how much food you fit in your stomach adapts to that. So if we're only eating small amounts of food, what happens is that all your hormones respond and they go, okay, well, the stomach only needs to be this full before I start telling the brain, oh, I'm really full, stop eating. If we continuously push it further and further than that, obviously we can fit more and more food in the stomach before we get the message to the brain saying, I'm full, stop going. So the point of the Orbira is that it teaches you that we can bring portions down, have smaller portions of food, and then our brain is getting the message that, hang on, we're full of a small amount of food. So when we remove the balloon from the stomach after 6 months, all those messages are still there. So your body has adapted to metabolizing and digesting only a certain portion of food. And when you go past that, even though the balloon's not there restricting you anymore, you still get the same hormone sending the message to the brain saying, whoa, slow down, I'm too full. So that's the point of the Orbira device. Yeah.
Just hope it doesn't wake your body, doesn't wake up.
Any other questions for Julie?
You want to go into shock as in losing hair or doing any of those things that come along?
No, not at all.
Shocks of the operations?
No, I didn't have any of that at all. It was just, sort of 24 hours of the vomiting, but after that it was good, yeah.
I know that I'm quite an emotional leader, and I'm thinking that especially with the post-op sort of diet, that it's maybe going to be quite challenging not being able to do that. I know in time I'd probably feel so much better, I wouldn't care so much, but how did you struggle? How did you go with that? Did you struggle mentally with the reduced portion?
No, not at all, because you do feel full. So you just, I used to sit down and eat the same amount of food as my partner did, and that was part of my problem, was I was just eating way too much. And being, brought up in the, you can't leave the table until your plate's empty. but I've been through some personal problems of late since it's been out as well, and prior. But no, you just, with that 6 months training and the support that you have from the team, I still find that I'm just good to go every day. And if there is a struggle, I just go for a walk, and that just takes your mind off it. Because I find after work, I'm hungry. I want dinner. So then I'll just go home, get my 2 dogs, go for a walk. Then I come back, feed them, and have dinner. And that's about 6:30. And, and you're right. So I think if you are an emotional eater, take yourself out of that environment. Take yourself for a walk, go somewhere that's away from a food source, or maybe just have some carrot and celery sticks. That's what I take to work if I'm peckish in the afternoon, but it's all about the training. But definitely please use the support of these people. They are just wonderful. Yeah.
How quickly did you start to feel it taking effect? Like how quickly after it was in that you started to...
The weight loss?
Yeah.
Within the first week, I had a loss, and I sort of I lost little bits, and then it'd sort of be like 2 kilos, and sort of 2 kilos there for a while. And I think probably the biggest loss I had was like 3 kilos in a week. That was probably the 3rd month in. Yeah. So, but that's when I picked up my exercise and everything, and realised that I've done this. I need to make this work. Like, this has got to work for me. And otherwise I've just, what am I doing here? So it was a life-changing thing. So yeah.
Thank you. You're an amazing advocate for the procedure, and your results are spectacular.
Thanks.
Great story, and I actually really love the fact that for Julie as well, the lifestyle change, the weight loss, but the change in type 2 diabetes is just fantastic as well. And often it's not so much about losing a lot of weight to get those kind of results, and that's just fantastic to hear. And the sleep apnea, amazing. All right, I have a very, a larger than life story to present to you tonight. I'm really grateful to have Jason here. His story is amazing, and I'd love him to come and share it with you. Please make him welcome.
So, hi everyone. All I can say is I've had it's about the 5th year of me having the gastric sleeve. So congratulations for being here. It's the best decision you've made. Needless to say, without the support of Weight Loss Solutions Australia, I wouldn't be here. My heaviest weight was 364 kilos. I'm now down to 121. So yeah, without these guys, it wouldn't have happened. All I can say is with surgery,
Can you just
I was
repeat
out.
that number, because I think people actually don't believe that
Yeah. So I started off at 364 kilos and now down to 121. So the thing is with surgery, it's going to be completely different for everybody. Like the girls will say, they were in surgery, like people can be in between 2 and 5 days. I was out the next day. I handled it quite well. And being so big, the doctor thought that I'd be straight in intensive care. I went straight to my normal ward. Felicity was about the first one that came and see me the next morning, and she just went, what's going on? I was out ready to leave the door. So, it was a complete shock. I did notice a bit of vomiting the first couple of days. That was more induced by myself because, needless to say, I flew down to go visit my parents down in Albury and let them know what I had done. And one thing that I was warned was, stay at home and relax. But needless to say, I didn't follow that information. In relation to food, look, your body's going to tell you exactly what you can and can't eat. I used to love milkshakes and ice cream and everything like that. Now I can't handle it whatsoever. I eat at least 7 times a day. As you've been advised, it's small entree sort of meals. Like I might have about 150 grams of chicken, and I'll have some broccoli, some spinach. I might have tomatoes. Like just before you guys all arrived, I had Nando's, so I just had a grilled chicken breast, and I had some tomatoes and onion and spinach leaves. So, but I'll eat that constantly throughout the day. yeah, my stomach hasn't really stretched very much. I've been told it can go to about 5%, but you know, everyone has their own view on that one. Yeah, at the moment, my 3-year goal from now is to go on a bodybuilding stage. I actually have a coach who's only 20 years of age who just won his bodybuilding comp for the 3rd year. And yeah, so he's teaching me the rules and everything about that. And so pretty much I fly to Melbourne to go see him every week and spend 3 days in Melbourne training with him, and then I come back here to the Gold Coast. So yeah, look, I'll give anyone my contact number. So if you ever want to speak to me, you know, with anything, want some advice about what's going to happen, you know, you're not game enough to talk here or ask a question here, give me a call. You know, I'm always happy to try to help out, you know, where the case might be. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. Yep.
Were you required to lose weight pre-surgery?
Sorry, say that again.
Were you required to lose weight
No.
pre-surgery? Okay.
Needless to say, I was always trying to lose weight, but yeah, it just got to a stage where I just didn't know what else to do. You can try every shake and training exercise possible, but just got to the stage where I actually had to do something, and this was it.
You look sensational.
Thank you.
Are you still losing weight now?
I'm losing a little bit of weight. I'm trying to get down to 115, but I'm gaining a lot of lean muscle now. But I'm training 3 times a day too. So pretty much my coach and I, we do a walk in the morning. We weight train at 11:30. We weight train at 6 o'clock, and just before bed we go for another hour of cardio. So I'm trying to really watch my get the exercise happening.
Who wants that last? What about you've also trained to become a personal trainer yourself?
Yeah, so I've got 3 more weeks of that, and then I'm a registered personal trainer myself. And myself and my coach are going to teach people how to eat healthy and train away. And especially because I've done this surgery now, I can actually tell people what it's all about and be able to understand everyone else's needs about it. Because needless to say, I had my own personal trainers who honestly had the buff bodies and everything, but had no idea about the skin that you're going to lose. And like I've got a lot of loose skin in my thighs and my stomach, and this year I'm actually going to get that removed. But needless to say, it was a complete battle for me, especially when you're trying to do leg press and everything, and your knees are up to your head, and you sort of like got these big guts, 3rd tire as I call it. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing.
I have a question.
Sure.
Did you, throughout this whole process, starting at where you started and all the way, starting at where you started and all the way to now,
yep.
Did you encounter very much negativity, people sort of wanting to say, oh, you've taken the easy way, and how did you actually deal with that?
Actually, I didn't have anyone say that, actually, of the negativity part. They were more congratulating me. I've actually got IFBB and world bodybuilders that are world champions, they contact me through Facebook and Instagram and all of that, and actually want to catch up with me in Melbourne in 2 weeks for the Arnold Classics, because they're actually really shocked about, what's actually happening with me, and they follow me all the time, and they see my progress on my photos because I always post and they always make comments, and I love it for that. I honestly thought that going to a gym, people were going to be staring at me because I'm actually wanting to try to do something, and I was thinking, oh, they're going to be making smart ass comments, but no, they're not. It's actually the ones that are dedicated, the ones that will come up to you and say, good work, and that was my motivation to keep on pushing, and it still is.
Yeah, well, I think the weight variance with you would have a lot to do with that attitude.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
Not so much like the likes of us, we're only wanting to lose, say, 30, 40 kilos.
Oh look, it's for anybody, it's just not
we get a lot more negative feedback than you would.
No, definitely. I had a lot of negative feedback when I first started. I didn't even want to go to a gym. I went to a 24-hour gym so I could go at midnight where there was nobody there. But now when you actually get, like for example, Nathan, my coach, he goes at midnight, because he likes the gym very quiet. And it's those sort of bodybuilders and that go late that actually will make comments, when they see you there actually doing your exercises and that. If it wasn't for them when I first started, I don't think I would have kept it up, because like I used to go to Anytime Fitness in Robina. That guy's still he's closed down now, But he still gets me on Facebook and says great work and all of that. And he was like one of my little inspiration ones by just saying, keep it up, you know. And he knew the battles I went through to get there every day. I used to go in a maxi cab. You know, I couldn't move. And to get up to his gym, you actually had to go up a flight of bloody stairs. You know, that was absolute hell on my knees and that. But I kept on doing it, so.
You had a bigger goal to gain than what we had.
Oh, look, but that goal is only till I just started, you know. It's taken me like 5 years to decide where I want to go to. Now, ultimately, all I wanted to do was lose like that 20 or 30 kilos. But needless to say, you know, when you've lost that amount, then you just want to keep on, you know, adding more goals to it. And I don't do unrealistic goals too. Like, you know, when I first met Melanie, the doctor and Felicity and everyone, I just told them, I only wanted to lose a small amount. I just want to just keep on gradually doing it. That's what I did.
Small amount for 300.
But that's 5 years too.
So how long did it take you to?
It's still going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Look, when you first had the surgery, you do lose quite a bit. But yeah, it's just an ongoing process, you know. You plateau it sometimes, and then you just got to get your diet changed and, you know, have a better mindset on things. And that's where I've had, you know, a good motivation, you know, by someone making a comment on Facebook or whatever that says, keep it up, you know, and you go, oh yeah, bloody hell, yeah, I'm going to do it. You know? And look, going into a gym, just put your headphones on. It's like, if you've got an emotional problem and all of that, you know, as was, you know, said before, look, you know, sometimes I just don't want to, you know what everyone's talking about at the gym and that, so I just put my headphones on and I just ignore everybody and just do my exercise and, you know, do what I have to. And I love it that way. So if I am my own business, so needless to say, if I've got dramas going on at work and all of that, you know, that I don't want to know about, headphones, and then I just go for a walk. You know, that just clears my head of everything.
Personal.
No, please, I'll answer anything.
All right, cool. I'm just sort of assuming it, you know, at that weight you would have had some comorbidities, you know, maybe diabetes, joint problems.
Yeah, I had type 2 diabetes, yeah, and I was on, a killer of meds for that.
So
they're all gone now. Yeah, I only had diabetes 2. That's all completely gone. But with diabetes 2, it always sits in the background. So, you know, that's one thing I've always got to be cautious of. Because at the moment, as I was only just commenting today, I actually just went and seen my doctor because I seem to be peeing a lot at the moment. So it may be that my diabetes is playing up again. So it's something you just got to always keep on checking. So it's always a good little, you know, sign to, you know, see what's happening. But, you know, I'm always adjusting my meals and my diet. So at the moment, I'm on no carbs. So, you know, that could be affecting my diabetes, you know, in some, you know, because I'm not having any sort of sugars. So I'm not having any fruit or anything natural sugars. So I might be tinkering on something that might need a little bit of adjusting.
Just one more question, if that's right. I have been told different things by different doctors and dietitians about malabsorption with sleeves. I know that because food doesn't have as much exposure to gastric acid, that it's not broken down as much potentially. Blah, blah. I've sort of heard different things about that. Have you had any sort of deficiencies arise?
Yeah. Everything's always fine with me. Can you answer anything with that?
Yeah. So with the gastric sleeve, with any procedure that we would ever legally be allowed to do, it is not a malabsorptive procedure. So what that means is that we are not taking the part of your stomach or enough of your stomach that you would be left unable to absorb and break down and digest foods. So with the sleeve, everything's relative. So the amount of food that you can fit inside your stomach is relative to the amount of enzymes and acids inside your stomach. So you will be able to completely digest and break down the food that's able to sit inside your stomach at any given time. It just means that we can't break down and digest the same size meals as what we can now, which is why we need to change our eating habits, change our plans so that we're getting in small amounts of nutrition more frequently than what we might be doing now, so that we can actually maintain all of our health, all of our nutrient levels through eating alone. So any procedure, whether it's a bypass, whether it's a gastric sleeve, gastric band, the intragastric balloon, none of these procedures or devices are designed to stop you from breaking down nutrients and absorbing nutrients at all.
I think probably the word you're looking for though is malabsorptive, isn't it? So the bypass would be, you know, potentially can be.
Yeah, I was told specifically that it doesn't break it down enough sometimes, especially in larger kind of things like iron as well.
No, so iron and B12 have
pregnant enough to be absorbed. So.
Yeah, so iron and B12 have got nothing to do with the stomach. They're all broken down and absorbed in your intestines. So with foods that are high in iron and B12, so they're typically your red meat, but it's not red meat alone. That is a difficult texture to break down for anyone, whether you've had a sleeve surgery or not. So what we need to do in that case is learn how to cook and prepare foods in a way that is going to be easier on your digestive tract, so that you can have them sit a bit easier and digest a little bit easier. So you will still be able to break down, digest, absorb all of the nutrients that you need to from the foods that you eat.
To be honest, it's a little hard to sort of know who to believe, no offense, but
Yeah.
I've had dietitians tell me other things, but
Yeah.
which is why I wanted to hear it from a patient's perspective. So thank you.
Well, I know all my blood tests are all coming off quite fine. Like, yeah, I'm taking multivitamins anyway, and I do take an iron pill.
Yeah.
So, but that's just what my bodybuilder told me to take. So, but yeah, they're all in normal ranges. So, if there was any issue, I'm sure my doctor would have
And you
told
have
me.
blood tests done here as well at regular intervals, so that Erin's actually always checking as well. She'll be looking at all of your levels all the time.
Yeah, so one of the reasons I ask if people have been to see a dietitian or a doctor or anyone any sort of medical professional in terms of weight loss before is that with bariatric dietetics, it is very different to standard weight loss dietetics because it involves that surgical component. So a lot of what I'll be doing behind the scenes from actually seeing you and spending time with you is figuring out exactly what's going on with all of your enzymes, not just in your stomach, your intestine and your liver as well, and making sure that I'm matching things up specifically for your body so that I know exactly how much we need to be getting in and how we need to be planning our meals as well. So, but I completely appreciate, and this is one of the things that I find frustrating as well, is that there's so much information out there. There's so much conflicting information out there, and there can be a lot of prejudice out there as well. But if there's anything that I can encourage anyone is go back to the team behind the surgeon. And if you've got questions, if you've got concerns, if you've got things that just are not making sense to you at all, and you're saying, this person says this person says this, the forums say this, and my friend says this, and my neighbour says this, come back to the team that has been working with you surgically and who knows your surgery and who's met you from the beginning. So come back to us, ask us, and we can even put you on to further resources if we need to. So make sure you just stay in touch as the main thing. There's no such thing as a stupid question, and I often get people emailing me at middle of the night when they wake up and they think of something. I come back to work and I've had emails sent to me. I'm thinking like 1:30 in the morning. Like, what is going on? So there is no such thing as a stupid question, and no such thing as a, oh, this doesn't make sense, and she'll think I'm stupid for asking. So just ask away all the time. Yeah.
What's been your biggest challenge, like through the whole?
Actually, it's getting like a personal trainer that actually understands what I want to do. That was my biggest thing, is trying to find the support out there in my fitness. Like here, you'll get the support, pre and post surgery, okay, and even like it's my 5th year and I still come and see Felicity. But honestly, I've had my dramas with personal trainers. That's been my biggest issue, not that anything, because when you start losing weight, you want to sort of, change your lifestyle completely, and one's trying to get your food and trying to get some sort of healthy fitness routine happening. A lot of personal trainers out there were just using me because, it was $90 in their pocket every hour. That's my problem. That's what I found. Okay, and a lot of them just had no understanding of how big I was, that couldn't, do certain particular weights or sort of styles of exercise because my knees wouldn't cope.
Yeah, right.
And that was my biggest issue out of everything. And it's taken me close to my 5 years to finally find someone who's 20 years of age, right, that understands exactly what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And he really does, care. And it's taken all that time.
Brilliant. That's good. Thank you. Thank you so much. An amazing story that I absolutely love, and the best opportunity to have Jason here. Some of the things that I love about his story are, to have him here at 5 years post-op. This is permanent. It's a life change. It's a sustainable, permanent weight loss outcome that we're looking for. And, often we have people here who might be at 12 months post-op, but it's actually amazing to have someone 5 years down the track and who's achieved this kind of result. And clearly, you know, looking at your faces and hearing those massive numbers and seeing how astounded you were to hear that, phenomenal. It's amazing. And that's not going to be everybody's story, and it is all relative, but 30 or 40 kilos is also life-changing in terms of comorbid medical condition resolution and change, life expectancy, and how you live the rest of your life. So, you know, don't be so overwhelmed by that your number is not just as equally significant, and it can give you massive change to your health and your life. Jason's is just phenomenal. In fact, you know, I said last time when he was here and talking about the fact that he's trained to gain his own personal training qualification, that it will be awesome to see patients work with him as their personal trainer. I'd love to see him become the personal trainer for our patients. You know, I couldn't think of anyone better to work with patients who are ready to take on board the challenge of new exercise programs for themselves. So, you know, we're hoping that will be something that you'll approach us for, or approach Jason for, and look to connect with him in that way. He does have a brilliant Instagram page. What's your Instagram thingy? What's it called? If you want to, I'll share it with you. We've got if you're not connected on our Facebook page, please connect on Facebook. There's loads of interesting information there every day, but you can message me on Facebook and I'll point you in the right direction to get Jason's Instagram, because it's a really great one to follow. Very grateful to have both Jason and Julie here tonight. Please thank them. A lot of people are asking questions about cost. One of the things that we do and we love to do is to help people who perhaps may not have access to top hospital private health insurance and are looking for access to self-funding. Kelly, who I haven't yet introduced you to, who's over here, she spends a lot of her time supporting and helping patients go through the early release of funds for superannuation so they can access their surgery. We love that we can do that for people. So that's just one avenue. We do work with Mac Credit as well as another finance solution. But for fees, I've got fee sheets for everyone here tonight, but for all of our online people, when you talk to me tomorrow, I need to know your personal circumstances, whether you've got top hospital cover, whether you're self-funding, or what your situation is, so I can actually explain how it all works to you. But happy to share all of that tonight. One other thing that I will say about cost, because I know there's a lot of people interested in the balloon, which is perfect for a certain group of patients. There's we don't have any upper BMI range for any of the procedures that we do. And Jason obviously being testimonial to that, we actually still get patients traveling from other states now because they can't access surgery because they're actually over 250 kilos and no one will look after them. So those patients always still come here, which is an absolute pleasure and amazing things that we see in those people. But just when you're looking at the procedure and being evaluated and working with the team to work out what's right for you, think about what's best for you for the long term, not just about is the price going to be right for you cost-wise. Try not to let that dominate which procedure is the right procedure for you. We'll try and help you find a financial solution to access the appropriate procedure. Is that fair? Mm-hmm. I think it's the best way to look at it, because in the end, we don't want you coming back more than once to have another procedure. We want it to be a once in a life for you. You know, it's got to be the one that's right for you. All right. I also haven't introduced you to one other staff member who's hiding behind the desk is Erin. She is someone who you will often have connected with or spoken to first. So she's here some of the time and works outside of the clinic as well, but here to talk to you whenever you need and guide you through the whole process, as is Kelly. I'd like to ask you to thank our team. They're an awesome team. Thank you for joining us, and thank you to all of our online viewers tonight. We're happy to stay and chat. If you're ready to take that first step and make an appointment, we're happy to help tonight too. Otherwise, we've got a form for you to fill out and let us know what you'd like next. So thank you all so much for coming.
Oh goodness. My foot. I'd like to come on, but I'm not.
is also absolutely a new, which is to figure out what it is.
No real official reason. The part of the producers but there is research to show that it does come back. I've got to try and find a way to take this. Relative to the guy who was spoken about
Did you say you had a fee schedule thing for it? Yeah.
They want more bands and balloons
What we do is we email you out the early release of superannuation application forms. So you need an online MyGov account. Do you have a MyGov account?
A what?
A MyGov account?
I think I do. I do my tax.
Yes.
On that?
Yeah. So you would have a CRN number as well from Centrelink, customer reference number.
From Centrelink.
Have you ever been issued with a CRN number?
No.
So you need you need to contact Centrelink and ask them to issue you with a CRN number.
Right.
And then you need to link the Centrelink CRN number with your MyGov account.
The CRN number now, it's all cut. Is that, I think that's on my tax.
It's usually a 9-digit number with a
I think so.
Yeah, so
I
you
think
need
so.
to link that. If you've already got it, you need to link it with your MyGov account.
Okay.
And then when the application forms get sent to you, you need to take them to your GP. So your GP needs to fill in the application form. You then, once you've got that, you upload the application form to your MyGov account.
Right.
And then once you've met with our surgeon and decided to proceed, you get a cost breakdown that you're applying for the service. So do you know what procedure you're interested in?
Probably.
Yep.
I think. It just seemed so fine. I like, sort of. I don't think balloon is a long enough thing for me because I just give up so easy. I need something that would be constantly a reminder that I have to stick by.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think so because it's just the idea of having something.